protect your spirit, okay? Protect your spirit. And I say that because there are so many examples in front of our faces of how people submit their minds and their hearts to dark energies and dark things so that they can maybe have relevance or influence or fame. And you see the progression of these people as years go by, right? They're not like a normal person who established a career or a business, right? And, maybe their business didn't require them to influence people in a negative way or do things that were harmful to people mentally or sometimes even physically, right? And so people are able to retire from their careers and be relatively happy people for the most part, right? A person who has had like a relatively normal life, right? At a career, they retire from their career, they're able to enjoy their life. You look at a lot of these celebrities that go through their careers, and the one thing you notice is that these people dwindle away. A lot of these people dwindle away, very, very quickly, mentally and physically. And they start talking about how they are dealing with depression and mental health issues. And granted, mental health is such an important aspect of a person's well-being. Your mind must be healthy in order for you to be fully functional. But when your mind is not healthy, it is very hard for you to be fully functional. And let's add on layers of adding psychosis to the mind. And a lot of people, they practice witchcraft, divinations, voodoo, incantations. They do all kinds of things to tap into an idea of knowledge that will help them get further. But you see a lot of these people, number one, the dark forces, they need to choose you and see a value in you. And if they don't, you can practice that shit until the cows come home. They're not going to be inclined to really assist you, right? But when you're like a Perez Hilton and you're an Ariana Grande and you have the potential to make money and make these corporations money and also wield influence of girlish sex appeal, right? Because that's what that grown-ass woman really is doing. She's in her 30s, right? She's more promoting girlish sex appeal. But now this new layer to Ariana Grande is this dark, sinister, sort of, dark flower type of thing, right? And a lot of these people, again, they are occupied by entities, dark entities that they themselves have invited. And I can't say definitively what anybody has done, but a lot of these people have invited these dark entities into their minds, into their hearts by way of practice. And these dark entities really, at the end of the day, they leverage humans, much like most people are leveraged in this world today. And a lot of what plays out in the physical world is an indicator of, the mindsets and the dispositions of the spiritual world as well, whether it's dark sometimes or even light. Because we're all children of God and we were all made in His image. And that thinking capacity, that reasoning capacity, we all got it, whether you're fleshly or in the spirit. But the spirit sons have always known that they can manipulate the fleshly sons. And the desperation of the fleshly sons, as imperfect mankind has moved on from generation to generation, has been an observation of these spirit sons, the dark ones that roam among us. And so they know that what mankind wants at all time. And they know that when somebody is leverageable, right, they can grant those things by way of knowledge, action, decision, right? You got your alchemists, your Teslas, a lot of these people, your Nostradamus, a lot of these people were practicers of dark magic that provided them access to knowledge that allowed them to, you know, do different things. I mean, and even down to the roots of masonry, right? It's really just a form of alchemy in different concentrated areas, right? Like stone masonry, right? These people are sort of alchemists of these elements of the stone, right? Some people call herbalists, green masons, if you will. My brother calls me an alchemist all the time, because I know how plants work, but I would say that's more like botany, botanist, right? But all of these, are, forms of knowledge that should have been taught to mankind, right? But they concentrate the knowledge, in certain groups. And again, the more evil you are, and again, some people come from bloodlines of evil. So if you hail from bloodlines of evil, or at least you get the approval of someone from a bloodline from evil, you can quickly get some of those demons attached to you too, because you're probably making bad deals to get profitable. And so I say this to say that Perez Hilton made a comment about her recently, and her condition, that is, and then somehow he ends up looking just like the gory version of her, the Carrie version of her, in a live stream where he's harming himself. And a lot of people can blame this on this condition and that condition, but I think a lot of people need to be realistic that a lot of these people are tapping into dark magic, dark entities. They're dealing with dark demons attached to their soul that have been there for years. And as they're trying to make themselves lighter and do and sort of gain more control over their lives, and maybe not be the person that the demon has made them to be, the demon is going to suck them dry. It's going to drive them insane, and they're going to become the spectacle that they're going to become the spectacle that they were laughing at. So in Perez Hilton case, right, he built his platform clowning people, right? And look at his fall from grace, right? Look at that fall from grace. He is, arguably, right, going insane, right? And then again, poor Ariana Grande, right? Child mindset, right? Somewhere in that jungle of demons, right? She got locked into being a child. Almost, to me, she comes off as a child with a vixen's mindset, like a sexualized child. Even though she's a grown woman, her whole persona gives a child, like a preteen child that has been hypersexualized. And I wonder what happened to her during her stint of trying to be famous. And even, and sometimes some of these parents, they want the kids to be famous so much, they let a lot of stuff slide for that money. And so a lot of these kids are pimped out by their parents. Not saying that happened to her, but, Ariana Grande gives that woman, in her quest to be famous, was compromised several times at a very young age. And it was normalized to her. And because she had this dream of being a big superstar, it was almost like she conditioned her mind to be in this role. And that's kind of when the demons come in. So let me know what you think about Perez Hilton. What do you think about Ariana Grande? The devil is busy, and the devil is always going to be in the details. And I always tell people, protect your soul, protect your spirit. And the last thing is just these algorithms. So real quick, and I think I want to do this in another video, because I don't know how long this story can go. It could be long, it could be short, but I'll do it in another video, because I think that it's very interesting how the surveillance states are working. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll do another live stream. Bye.